time off, you'll find yourself doing things over time. After 3 years of living like this, you could find yourself on the way to a meltdown. When you experience a meltdown, here are the signs. Number one, you become scatterbrained. You actually don't have thoughts that are in line, your thoughts are not processed, and you also look frazzled and disorganized. At the same time, you're not performing. You seem to be doing things, but you're just running on the spot, just doing things on auto mode. This is definitely a sign of meltdown. And when this happens, you can be sure that the next call you're going to get is from human resources. Therefore, take a breather. Keep your weekends for yourself. Get me time. Don't let it be always about pressure, always about work, and always about looking for money. Of course, these things are very important, but at the same time, you need space. You need a break. Take time to pray. Take time to relax. Take time to spend time away from your work. And this way, you will survive any burnout or meltdown. This is self-care tips on how to keep cool during times of pressure. I am Irene Joroge.
Did you know that while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause? Stop these crashes before they stop you. Ensure that you adhere to traffic rules to prevent these crashes. Always observe the fatal 6 to be safe. When driving, please ensure that your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking, stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. Ensure that you are well rested before driving on long distance, and never drink and drive. Usalama barabarani starts with you. Fika salama. This message is brought to you by NTSA and the European Union.
The government set up the Universal Service Fund to bring communication services to remote and hard-to-reach parts of the country. We are ensuring that no one is left behind in our journey to a digitally transformed nation. Communications Authority of Kenya, opening your world.
Hello there, it's the 26th day of April 2022. This is KBC Prime, coming to you live from Broadcasting House here in Nairobi, Kenya.
And Kenyans have until tomorrow to view the body of the former president, Mwai Kibaki, which is lying in state ahead of the National Memorial Service on Friday.
Which will be held at the Nyayo National Stadium, and one day later we will be witnessing the burial in his Othaya home, that's in Nyeri.
That's right.
So we have many stories lined up for you tonight on this live broadcast, but let's first take a look at our headline stories. Members of the public troop to Parliament to pay homage to late former President Mwai Kibaki.
Date for submission of aspirants lists for the positions of president and presidential candidates and deputies, as well as gubernatorial candidates and deputies, will be on the 16th of May
relief for presidential and gubernatorial aspirants as the deadline for submission of names is pushed to May 18.
We will quit if Kalonzo Musyoka is not picked as Raila's running mate. Wiper's latest threat to Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Many thanks indeed for joining us. My name is Mboya.
My name is Purity Museo. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter tonight at KBC Channel 1 News at Purity_Museo at Tomboya24. Use the hashtag Prime Edition to interact with us. And of course, we continue to hear from you. What are your messages of condolences and what do you remember the former President Mwai Kibaki for? Get tweeting. We are live on all our social media platforms.
And as you get on your phone, Kenyans from all walks of life thronged Parliament to view the body of the late President Mwai Kibaki that is lying in state.
Parliament gates were opened at 8 a.m. to enable members of the public to pay homage to the late president.
6:46 a.m. at the Parliament buildings. The casket bearing the remains of former President Mwai Kibaki arrives for day 2 of public viewing. Moments later, Kenyans started streaming into the Parliament buildings to pay their last respects to the third President of Kenya.
People used to see me to call me Kibaki, Mchukua Kibaki, and I've been living with that mentality, knowing that I'm the distant grandchild of Kibaki.
This man found himself on the wrong side of the law and was later whisked away by the security officers. The young and the old all were here in one accord. Kenyans eulogizing the late former president as a selfless leader and whose leadership style is worth emulating.
Nimefaidika sana na elimu yake ambayo alitupa, free education, na nimefurahia sana kwa maana ametuwezesha, tumesoma, tulianza primary free, tumemaliza mpaka university kwa sasa.
Kwa hii Thika super highway, hii bypass zote tunamkumbuka na hizo barabara zikakamilika, akatuambia tupendane, hakuwa na ukabila. Hatujai msikia na hii kuporapora mali ya umma, ati alipatwa na hii ama hii, alikuwa tu mzuri.
Alikuwa anatuangalia sana sisi kwa kila kitu. Lazima alikuwa anauliza mwananchi atafaidika aje kwa vitu kama hizo. Kwa hivyo hatuna budi ila tukubali pigo ambalo tumepata.
Others mourned him as an accommodating leader whose number one agenda was country economic development.
He was focused, and I think we owe it to him to make sure we don't disappoint. We owe it to him, some of us who are canvassing for votes and asking that, making big promises as we are being told on the circuit, to make sure that our promises, we deliver on our promises. And Kenya will never be the same again, because once upon a time, Mwai Kibaki was president of Kenya. I'm very proud. And I'm also sad.
In the Departmental Committee of Finance and Trade, I was able to relate a lot with the president in terms of budgetary allocations and implementation of the same. And so this is the president that I remember him very well. He was really a true economist, because we were able, the member of parliament, depending on how the mood was and requesting for additional budgetary allocations, to be able to do a lot of things that they were able to be pushed by their constituents. President Kibaki really was teaching us.
Kibaki loved Kenya. Kibaki was always for Wanjiku, the person bottom up. You know, he never thought of himself as the most important thing in this country, but he thought of others as the most important thing in the country. He believed in the being and the lifting up.
The retired president's body will be in Parliament for one more day for public viewing. The National Mass is slated for Friday 29th at the Nyayo National Stadium. The burial will take place on Saturday, April 30th at his Othaya home in Nyeri County. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i Tuesday led senior government officials in signing a condolence book at Harambee House in honor of former President Mwai Kibaki.
The late former president will be laid to rest in his rural home in Othaya, Nyeri County. Here's more with Beatrice Gatonyi.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i kicked off the exercise at Harambee House, followed by Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua, then Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibisho. Meanwhile, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe led former Health Ministry officials who worked with the late President Mwai Kibaki when he was the Minister for Health in the signing of the condolence book at Afya House, Nairobi. Kagwe said the former president achieved a lot as the Minister for Health during his tenure from 1988 to 1991.
When I speak on behalf of the Ministry of Health, I speak also for the many doctors and nurses and health workers who are out there who worked with him. Some of them retired, but I'm sure they all remember him fondly. They remember him fondly for the things that he has done, not just generally in the other ministries, but in this particular day. The reason why we called everybody here is also to remember what he did for the health state of our nation.
In Embu, Eastern Regional Commissioner Evans Achoki, while signing the condolence book, remembered the late president as the one who visualized the Vision 2030 development blueprint that has set the country's journey to prosperity. He said it is President Kibaki who started the Constituency Development Fund, which is credited for turning around development in rural Kenya.
Kwa hivyo tunauliza wananchi, viongozi, wafanyi kazi wa serikali waweze kujitokeza na kuja kuandika kitabu cha maombolezi.
Rift Valley Regional Commissioner Maalim Mohammed said Kibaki worked with technocrats and established a robust structure that subjected the civil service to rigorous performance measurements and public perception tests, which attracted and retained men and women of quality.
Tunamkumbuka kwa sababu ni mtu alikuwa anaangalia kazi ya wafanyakazi wa umma na ulikuwa unapewa kupandishwa ngazi kulingana na kazi yako. Kwa hivyo tunamkumbuka kwa hayo mambo ametufanyia kama viongozi katika serikali yetu tukufu.
Western Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakoru led the area residents in paying tribute to the late former president Mwai Kibaki. Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata described the late president as a selfless man who strived for the development of the country during his 10-year reign, which he termed as the golden decade.
Na watu tutamkumbuka kwa kusisitiza juu ya utendaji kazi wa wafanyikazi wa serikali na hata viongozi, na hakuwa na wakati wa kupiga domo ama kuzungumza barabarani ama kupiga siasa ya hivi na vile. Yeye ni mtu ambaye alikuwa na haja ya kuona nchi imegeuka.
Beatrice Getonyenge-Tich, Prime Edition.
Now, presidential and gubernatorial aspirants have until the 16th of May 2022 to present their names and those of their deputies to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, however, says that aspirants in the other four elective positions of Women Representative, Member of Parliament, Senator, as well as Member of the County Assembly should present their names by the 28th of April 2022 as earlier communicated. Nancy Okware reports.
It is now a relief to political parties after striking a deal with the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission on the dates to present names for presidential and gubernatorial aspirants and their deputies.
Are we ready?
The two parties have agreed to push the deadline to the 16th of May 2022 to give political parties and coalitions ample time to agree on the names.
The date for submission of aspirants lists for the positions of president and presidential candidates and deputies, as well as gubernatorial candidates and deputies, will be on the 16th of May. That's next month, 16th of May 2022.
Kila chama inajadiliana katika hilo swala la deputy president na deputy governance. Kwa hivyo tumeongezewa muda kidogo ndio watu waendelee kuwasiliana na kuongea mazungumzo zaidi, ndio majina itakayotokea itakuwa imekubalika katika eneo zote za Kenya. Kama wage-insist kwamba mpaka Thursday tupeane jina, bado tungepeana jina sababu hatuwezi kurudisha karatasi bila jina linalofaa.
This directive also applies to independent candidates vying for these two positions. However, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has maintained that the deadline for submission of names of aspirants for the 4 position of women representative, senator, member of parliament and member of county assembly shall remain the 28th of April 2022 as earlier communicated.
And this is mainly to assist the commission, or rather to give the commission a chance to submit those names to the Chapter 6 institutions so that they can carry out due diligence on the particular aspirants.
In my opinion, they should go ahead and announce the running mate, who is going to be the deputy president, so that the country can then judge the teams. We don't have the complete teams. We don't know the constellation how it's going to be. We don't know who they are going to work with. I think this uncertainty may not necessarily be very good for the country.
The consultative meeting was necessitated by a protest by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, Kenya Kwanza and other political parties over the initial April 28th deadline issued by IEBC for submission of presidential aspirants and their deputies. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has pledged to focus on the country's economic revival and seal all corruption loopholes if elected president in the August 9 general election. Addressing a meeting of the Constituency for Africa group that seeks to shape America's policy for Africa in Washington, D.C., Raila further said that his administration will provide a platform where Kenyans can engage and trade with the rest of the world. Azimio la Umoja presidential aspirant Raila Odinga started his US tour on Saturday last week, where he has been holding a series of meetings with senior US government officials. Speaking while addressing a meeting of Constituency for Africa group that seeks to shape America's policy for Africa in Washington, D.C., Odinga vowed to end corruption if elected president in the August polls.
One of the major impediments to investment in Africa has been some factors which include, for example, infrastructure, poor infrastructure, high cost of energy, bureaucratic red tape, corruption. Some of inhibiting factors that have hindered investment in the continent of Africa. We are going to address those issues so that we can create a very attractive environment, new environment for people to come and invest in the continent.
The ODM leader saying his focus will be lowering the cost of living for Kenyans.
We are open, starting from Kenya. We are inviting you people to come, the African diaspora, to come to Africa and invest in Africa. You're welcome. In terms of Africa, it's the same. It's the same. We are discussing ways and means of opening up Africa for trade. So we have got historical connection. The United States helped Kenya in the struggle for independence from British colonialism. So we therefore share very many things in common. And we want to see that these relationships are strengthened. So we are saying we want to, of Kenya, we are starting a new chapter in Kenya after the elections of 9th of August this year.
Odinga is set to visit the State Department and the White House, where he will hold meetings with the country's Assistant Secretary of State for Africa and members of the Congress. Raila was expected to be at the United States for a week, cut short his tour, and is expected in the country on Wednesday ahead of the burial of the former president, Mwai Kibaki.
Now, a section of leaders from Wiper Party are threatening to ditch the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition if Kalonzo Musyoka is not appointed as Raila Odinga's running mate in the August 9th general poll.
Led by Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., the leader said Kalonzo has a large following compared to other leaders eyeing the position in the coalition.
As Zainab Said reports.
Wiper Party is not letting it and is warning it might be forced to reconsider its position if Kalonzo Musyoka is not named Raila Odinga's running mate for the August 9th presidential race.
The person who will deliver the dream of Azimio, One Kenya Alliance, ni Raila Amolo Odinga na Kalonzo Musyoka.
Speaking during the issuance of nomination certificate to different aspirants at the Kalonzo Musyoka's command center, the leaders led by Mutula Kilonzo Jr. warned failure to naming Kalonzo as Raila's running mate may destabilize the alliance.
Leader, you forgive us saa zingine tukikuwa watoro on your behalf. Utasema tu hawa watoto wangu wamekuwa watoro, Mungu wasamee. When we say that we know that the Azimio party can only become what it is and what we want it to be when you are fully incorporated.
They claim Kalonzo enjoys numerical strength than any of those eyeing the position and that his political stature does not allow him to take anything less than a running mate.
Nyumba kura zimehesabiwa anazo 3.8 million. Lakini kuna kaunti moja pia ukitaja na 2-3 zingine. Kwa wale kaunti tuna kura 305,000. Hizo zote zinavuka 4,000,000. Tuna 4,000,000 ambazo Wiper tutazileta mezani. Nataka kumsikia mwingine atakuwa naibu wa rais alete zake mezani tujue ni ngapi.
There is no reason really why Wiper is not the party to produce the presidential.
Among those issued with certificates to contest the gubernatorial seats include Ali Chirao Makwere for Kwale County, Mike Mbuvi Sonko for Mombasa County, Dan Mwanzo for Taita Taveta County, Wavinya Ndeti, Machakos County, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Makueni County, Sirath Abdullahi, Wajir and Julius Malombe to contest the Kitui seat. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Two Mandera gubernatorial hopefuls seeking the Jubilee Party ticket have protested the move by the party to award former East African Cooperation Cabinet Secretary Aden Mohamed the party's ticket.
Mandera Senator Mohamed Maalim and politician Faiza Abbas have accused top officials in the party of allegedly engaging in corruption and awarding the certificate to the highest bidder.
Ben Chumba puts that story in perspective.
Mandera Senator Mohamed Maalim and politician Faiza Abbas are now threatening to take legal action against the party for failing to live up to the promise of identifying a candidate through consensus.
To our surprise, yesterday, the party issued direct ticket to one of the candidates.
The duo claim they have united their forces and are now exploring other options, including one of them running as an independent candidate.
We are charting our course. We will not take it lying down. We will exercise our democratic rights. We will do whatever options are available to us.
And the Service Party has announced that it will field candidates in all elective positions except the presidency in the August 9 polls. The Service Party chairman Ernest Kimaita said the party is targeting majority positions in the upcoming elections.
And I can assure you there has not been a single dispute from this party. It's one of the most transparent processes that can be verified by any person.
For us aspirants, we've put on the dancing shoes. We are waiting for the piper to call the music, and I'm sure the DJ is on standby. That will be on 9th.
In Laikipia County, aspirants who lost in the Jubilee consensus process are now accusing the Laikipia Jubilee leadership of giving direct nomination certificates to the weaker candidates.
Tukaketi pale wakatuambia watafanya opinion polls, wataangalia popularity ya candidates, lakini wale ambao walipatiwa tikiti ya chama tunauliza walitumia kriteria gani?
Wakati tuliitwa pale Panari, hakuna mtu ambaye aliweza kusikizana na mwingine. Sisi wote tulikuwa pale tukaweza kuongea, lakini hakuna mtu ambaye aliweza kusema atastepia down mtu mwingine. Lakini sasa sisi tunashangaa.
And Murang'a Jubilee gubernatorial candidate Jamle Kamau has picked Dr. Naomi Nyeri Kagone, who is the director of Kenya Chamber of Commerce, Murang'a chapter, as his running mate, saying she has experience to revive the economy of the county.
Leaders are those people who show the direction that their people take. And I can tell you for sure that come 9th of August this year, Murang'a people are going to be happy that they have agreed to follow us.
My duties and responsibilities are only to support your administration, which I'll perform diligently, apply complementary approach, but not a competitive approach.
Finally, former Kiambu woman representative Anna Nyokabi has maintained that she remains in the Kiambu gubernatorial race despite the Jubilee Party settling on James Nyoro as its flag bearer.
Thank you for your support and for your strength to work with me, especially those who have gone through a nomination process that is less than acceptable or desirable.
Speaking when she met various candidates who were denied the Jubilee ticket, Nyokabi signaled running as an independent candidate.
I will ensure under my leadership that we have a unified county that works for the interest of her people. It doesn't matter what party you belong to, whether it's CCK, Tujibebe, UDA, Jubilee, it doesn't matter. You're all citizens of Kiambu County.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
It's 9:17 East African time. This is KBC Prime. We're taking our first short break.
Absolutely, and we continue to mourn the death of the Kenya's third president, Mwai Kibaki, and we continue to ask you, what do you remember him for? Tomorrow is the last day for the viewing of the body, which is lying in state. Maybe you can make an effort to go and, give your last respects to the former president and keep tweeting. We are going to go through your feedback during and before the tail end of this broadcast. Stay with us.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 397 hash.
Nashukuru serikali kwa kuongeza bei ya mafuta. Sasa niko kwa highway na kuna traffic hata kidogo. Naomba serikali iendelee hivyo, tubaki tu watu ya gasla na heavy machine peke yake. Pia mimi naomba huyu serikali waseme kama gari yako ni below 3000 cc, gari yako
ili kupata mafuta kupanda kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 397 hash. *811 397 hash.
Did you know that while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause? Stop these crashes before they stop you. Ensure that you adhere to traffic rules to prevent these crashes. Always observe the fatal 6 to be safe. When driving, please ensure that your speed is within the stipulated limits, the road ahead is clear before overtaking, stick to your lane, keep left unless carefully overtaking. Ensure that you are well rested before driving on long distance, and never drink and drive. Usalama barabarani starts with you. Fika salama. This message is brought to you by NTSA and the European Union.
Welcome back to this live broadcast coming to you from Broadcasting House right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Moving on, residents of Lurambi in Kakamega County have called on government to install lighting arresters in the area to curb deaths caused by natural occurrence.
In the latest incident, 2 children from Simansi village died after being struck by lightning. Here's more with Ben Troinjue.
Barely a month ago, thunderstorm struck and killed a woman in Ibinzo village, Lurambi constituency in Kakamega County. She left behind a 4-month-old infant, and now residents of the neighboring Simanzi village in the same area are in mourning after a boy and a girl were struck and killed by lightning.
Tulikuwa tunatengeneza mboga na mvua ikaanza na watoto wakatoka wakaenda kwa nyumba kubwa. Sasa tulisikia tu radi kipiga. Mara ya kwanza ikapita. Mara ya pili ikafanya nini? Ikaingia kwa nyumba.
Tungeomba serikali isaidie ituregeshee tena mili yetu hapa hivi na tukafanye mazishi ya hao watoto. Alafu huwa nasikia wakitangaza kuna pesa za disaster Kakamega County. Hizo pesa hufanya kazi gani?
They have lamented laxity by the government in installing lightning arresters, claiming that thunderstorms have also damaged their electronic devices.
Lightning arrester endakana ikuwa hapa izuie hizi vitu. Waja serikali huwa inangoja vitu zifanyike ndiposa wakuje na solution.
For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troinjue.
In the corridors of justice, the High Court has frozen the bank accounts of finance officer at the Ministry of Environment for allegedly embezzling 79 million shillings from the ministry.
And according to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Samuel Kariuki Njoroge had 22 million shillings in his account when the freeze order was sought, yet he has been earning a salary of 32,000 Kenyan shillings since 2018.
This and more from the courts.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC's attention was drawn to suspicions of embezzlement from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry by its finance officer Samuel Kariuki Njoroge, following deposits that were disproportional to his salary. Njoroge was earning between 32,000 and 42,000 shillings a month since his employment in January 2018. However, deposits into his bank account from the ministry during his employment period had amounted to 79.7 million shillings, mostly from interest irregularly acquired. Justice Daniel Ogembo granted EACC its request to freeze Njoroge's account for 6 months. Njoroge had 22 million shillings in the account. Elsewhere, Azimio la Umoja presidential aspirant Raila Odinga has opposed a case by Third Way Alliance leader Ekuru Aukot to have him blocked from vying in the coming polls. Aukot wanted Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi barred from vying, arguing that they were public servants and hence beneficiaries of the Retirement Benefits Act. Odinga, however, termed the petition as an afterthought and abuse of the court process. Finally, former Kasarani Member of Parliament Elizabeth Ongoro and 9 others have been charged afresh with graft. The new charge sheet reduces the amount involved to 43.1 million shillings instead of 48 million shillings they had been accused of embezzling from the Kasarani Constituency Development Fund. The case will be mentioned on the 13th of May with the hearing set to commence on the June 27th. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
The national government has been urged to fast-track the distribution of relief food to the 12 most affected hunger-stricken counties in the country. Samburu North Member of Parliament Alois Lentoimaga claimed that cash transfer program was taking a little too long, leaving the beneficiaries at the risk of dying of hunger. Elsewhere, members of 2 families from Etanda, that's in Kitutu Church in North Kisii County, are demanding for justice after their kin perished in a road accident from a hit-and-run public service vehicle. The following in our county roundup.
Speaking at Bendera Primary School in Samburu North, where he launched 20 million shillings bursary kitty for 4,500 students in secondary schools, colleges and universities, Letoimaga faulted the cash transfer program for taking too long to serve its purpose.
Kwa projects ya primary schools, secondary schools, police stations chief's offices, milioni 20 tumepeana leo. Na hii ni mara nafikiri ya 4 tumepeana pesa kama hizi. Bado tunabakia karibu milioni 40 hivi ambaye projects ambaye hajakuwa disbursed.
Elsewhere, 2 families from Itanda in Kitutu Chache, North Kisii County, are demanding for justice after their members perished in a road accident from a hit-and-run public service vehicle. Peter Mokaya, a brother to one of the deceased, blamed the driver for taking off when he could have assisted the victims, including rushing them to the hospital.
Tunataka haki ya watoto wapatikane kwa sababu ajali ikitokea barabarani inatakikana gari isimame ione kama itaweza saidia watu wapeleke hospitali, lakini kitu walifanya ilikuwa ni hit and run.
Still in Kisii, a section of parents are now lamenting the tough financial constraints as schools reconvene for the new academic calendar.
Considering the current economic hardship here in Kenya, it is not easy for me because right now the school which I'm taking the school is around 30,000 per term.
In Meru, a business group known as 47 Pillars has asked members of the National Assembly to table a bill in Parliament which will see a reduction of prices of essential commodities that has pushed high the cost of living. Finally, a drama ensued at the Kakamega County Assembly after the suspended clerk Laban Atemba was denied entry by security at the gate despite having a court order. The county speaker Maurice Buluma claimed the court order did not grant Atemba permission to enter the premises.
Baada ya hiyo kuexpire waliniongeza suspension nyingine ya siku 60. Hiyo wakisema ni miezi 2. Alafu baadaye tena wakanitumia barua wakisema ya kwamba mimi nilikuwa resign from the services of the county assembly kwa sababu nilikuwa nataka kwenda siasa. Na wakati nilipata ujumbe huo nikasema mimi sikuwa resign, nikasema hiyo barua ilikuwa forgery.
Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
It is the county that produced Kenya's third president. Tonight in our weekly news feature segment, County Fact File, we cross over to the central Kenya and take a closer look at one of the counties in the former central province, Nyeri Code 019, and the man that the county gave to the service of the nation as president for 10 years died in retirement on April 22nd, 2022.
Nyeri County Code 019 is located in the former central province of Kenya. It borders Kirinyaga County to the east, Nyandarua to the west, Murang'a to the south, and Laikipia to the north. The county headquarters are in Nyeri town. Nyeri County has a population of 759,164 according to the 2019 Kenya Population and Housing Census. Nyeri has 8 sub-counties: Teto, Kieni East, Kieni West, Madera East, Madera West, Nyeri South, Mukurweini and Nyeri Central, covering the county's 3,325 square kilometers. Part of Mount Kenya and Aberdare are in Nyeri County. The county has 6 constituencies with close to 500,000 registered voters as per the 2017 RABC register. They include Teto, Kieni, Madera, Othaya, Mukurweini and Nyeri Town, with a total of 456,949. The county has 30 electoral wards. Agriculture is the main economic activity, with cash crops being tea, coffee. Other agricultural produce at subsistence level include maize, potatoes and cabbages, among others. The governors who have served Nyeri County include the late Nderito Gachagua, Samuel Githaiga wa Mathai, the late Wahome Gakuru and Mutahi Kahiga. Kenya's third president President Mwai Kibaki and the late Nobel Peace Prize winner Professor Wangari Maathai hail from Nyeri County. Former President Mwai Kibaki died on April 22nd, 2022 at the age of 90.
From Nyeri County back to broadcasting us right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Coming up, a look at the day's business with Carol Njenga.
And later on, the lovely Karen Kibet will be on with the sports news. Stay tuned.
Did you know that while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause? Stop these crashes before they stop you.
I know Kinanzu is a very inconvincible person.
Okay, Kamene, today I'll be your way. I am not going to even correct you. I can't take it.
I mean, wait, do you guys still get some beating from your parents? As big as some of you are.
As campaign intensified for the upcoming general election, what does all this mean for you, the voter? What do the candidates have to offer? How prepared are agencies charged with the election process? Join John Kuria and Safina Chieng on Kenya Decides. This and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 as we unpack elections 2022 with a panel of various stakeholders. Make informed electoral decisions.
It's time now to take a look at the latest in the world of business. My name is Carol Njenga. The government has lifted the ban on trade of scrap metal effective from this Sunday, but with conditions. Industrialization and Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina says on those licensed would be allowed to carry out the scrap metal business. She says multi-agency team have been appointed in each devolved unit led by the respective county commissioner to vet and license the scrap metal dealers. President Uhuru Kenyatta in January this year placed a moratorium on scrap metal business until proper guidelines are put in place to regulate the sector following increased vandalism of critical infrastructure including power transformers and transmission lines, telecommunication network as well as rail and road infrastructure. The move hit hard exporters and dealers in scrap metal who ceased operations. And today, Industrialization and Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina announced the lifting of the ban effective next month.
The President has permitted the gradual lifting of the moratorium with effect from 1st of May 2022. Trading in scrap metal will be confined to all those who are duly licensed.
A multi-agency team has been established in each county and chaired by the county commissioner to vet and license dealers.
Received applications from more than 260 persons, which is commendable because prior to the moratorium, we had only received applications for licenses by less than 20.
Licensed dealers, millers and smelters trading over 5 tons of scrap metal shall pay a fee of 250,000 shillings yearly. Collectors and Juakali businesses trading over 3 tons will pay 150,000 shillings in annual fees, while steel fabricators, motor vehicle salvage operators and stockists of second-hand motor spares, rewinders and local welders shall be required to pay 50,000 annually. Those contravening the rules will be liable to fines or be imprisoned. Kenya is staring at another food crisis due to the fast-spreading fowl armyworm that has now affected 33 counties in Kenya. Acting Crops Development Principal Secretary Francis Owino has said the worms have so far ravaged over 500,000 acres of land in the Western, Rift Valley and Central regions. The PS has said the government is ramping up efforts to control the fast-spreading worms.
For a country battling with a ravaging drought that has left more than 3 million people in dire need of food assistance, the surging fowl armyworms are akin to adding gasoline to a raging inferno. But that is the situation in Kenya. The Horn of Africa has been battling the fast-spreading worms since 2017 without much success. The worms have wrecked farms in 33 counties, affecting more than 500,000 acres of land.
Here we are having a challenge of the African armyworm, and as a government we have established that we are having this challenge in 33 counties, and the 33 counties that we are having this challenge, it is in approximately 500,000 acres of land.
Acting Crops Development Principal Secretary Francis Owino has said Kenya is working with the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Bank to help in controlling the worms. The National Treasury has since allocated 300 million shillings in the fiscal year 2022-2023 to battle the infestation.
Reached out to our development partners, FAO and the World Bank, to support us as they have always done during disasters or emergencies like this. And we are glad that they have come handy to give us support.
The armyworm is more lethal on crops, especially grass family and legumes, than any other pests. The PS says the Department of Agriculture is in the process of collecting sufficient data on the scope of invasion in terms of acreage, urging farmers to work in clusters for easy administration of spraying.
Of the role of the farmer. These are migratory pests. One farmer is not able to control them because they move from one farm to the other. They are not cognizant of boundaries. So the responsibility is of both the national government and the county government, and we are doing every effort to coordinate this exercise.
Experts are hoping that with the onset of heavy rains in the country, the worms will disappear into the soil and the affected crops will resume normalcy for better yield. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Kenyans should brace for increased edible oil prices as the landing cost for crude palm oil increases by 4% this week. Crude palm oil edible oil's landing cost increased by almost 10,000 shillings a ton due to the ban on palm oil export by one of the world's leading producers, Indonesia, on Sunday. Already, edible oil prices have more than doubled in the last 12 months. This comes as Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina said the government is in talks with various players in an attempt to stabilize edible oil prices.
Edible oil prices have escalated globally in the past few months since the Russian-Ukraine conflict started in mid-February. The two Eastern Europe nations are the leading producers of sunflower oils in the world, accounting for close to 30% of global total output. The prices are likely to further increase in the coming weeks after Indonesia, the largest producer of palm oil in the world, banned exports of crude palm oil due to scarcity.
Asian crude palm oil is now no longer banned. It can be imported. However, the costs of that crude palm oil have gone up by about $80 from the time of the announcement to now.
The ban has seen local cooking oil prices increase, with a 10 litre of cooking oil retailing at an average of 2,900 shillings in most retail outlets, up from 1,800 shillings a year ago. The prices are expected to increase even further in the next few days after the landed cost of crude palm oil increased by 4% in the last week. This week, edible oil processors are importing crude palm oil at 218,000 shillings per ton, up from 208,000 shillings last week. This as the government says it is creating modalities to source for palm oils from other markets.
Disruptions of transport, disruption ya embargoes, kuna nchi ambazo zinahitaji edible oil, lakini nataka kusema ya kwamba there are alternative sources of these markets. Kile tumefanya kama serikali ni ku-identify alternative sources.
Giving guidance as to how we mitigate, but the government is seized of the matter and doesn't want us to suffer.
Soya, which according to a section of processors is an expensive alternative, is also scarce in the market due to high demand in Asia and the United States. Kenya imports soybeans from Malawi, Zambia and Tanzania, but the imports have since dwindled due to declining stocks in these countries. China has been mopping up soybeans from the region that has seen a kg of soya currently retail at 120 shillings from 90 shillings in December last year. Benson Ruba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now to international news roundup, Twitter board has agreed to a $44 billion takeover offer from tech billionaire Elon Musk. The firm initially rebuffed Musk's bid, but it will now ask shareholders to vote to approve the deal. Musk, who made the bid less than 2 weeks ago, noted that Twitter had tremendous potential. More details coming up.
Discussions over the deal, which last week appeared uncertain, accelerated over the weekend after Musk would Twitter shareholders with financing details of his offer. Under pressure, Twitter started negotiating with Musk to buy the company at a proposed of $54.20 per share dollars price. The deal ends Twitter run as a public company since its 2013 initial public offering. He also called for a series of changes, from relaxing its contact restriction to eradicating fake accounts. Twitter shares on Monday closed more than 5% higher after the deal was announced. Despite its influence, Twitter has rarely turned a profit, and user growth, particularly in the US, has slowed. The company, founded in 2004, ended 2021 with a $5 billion in revenue and 217 million daily users globally. Elsewhere, China on Monday unveiled guidelines to further tap into the country's consumption potential. The plan offers detailed measures to tackle short-term bottlenecks and boost longer-term consumption in the world's second biggest economy. The country plans to build a batch of warehouses in the suburbs of large and medium-sized cities to ensure the supply of daily necessities in case of emergencies, according to guidelines released by the General Office of the State Council. The guidelines also specify other measures to cope with the impact of COVID-19 and boost consumption. Finally, Coca-Cola reported first quarter earnings and sales Monday that easily topped forecast. Sales surged 16% to $10.5 billion, beating Wall Street's expectation of $9.8 billion. Price hikes were a major driver of solid numbers, as it was up 7% globally and 11% in North America. The company also reaffirmed its outlook for the rest of the year, despite inflation worries that have raised the prices of aluminium and other commodities. Coke uses. Coke is continuing to do well internationally, even as the latest spike in COVID-19 cases is worrying investors. The company's sales slipped 34% in Latin America and 13% in Europe, the Middle East and Africa.
That roundup brings to a close business news for tonight. Karen Kibaki is on standby with tonight's sports. My name is Caroline Jenga.
Welcome back. I do hope you're holding up well. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, Kenya's top deaf golfer Isaac Makoha is eyeing gold at the 24th Summer Deaf Olympics to be held in Brazil from May 1st to 15th. Makoha, who plays for handicap 0.8, exuded confidence of clinching gold but named German Alan John as his main opponent.
Kenya's top golfer Isaac Makoha is going for the gold medal at this year's Deaf Olympics in Brazil. In his Deaf Olympics debut in 2017 in Turkey, Makoha finished 5th and is ranked in position 5 in the world among deaf golfers.
Basically, when you go to Brazil, the only focus is have a medal. That's the only thing. So I believe I'm capable with my training sessions. The only focus, the only point we're having is to have a medal. So I've been ready ever since, so gold is my ultimatum target.
Other golfers who will travel to Brazil with Makoha are former Muthaiga Golf Club caddies Adan Waria and Gilbert Alikula. The Vet Lab golfer challenged his counterparts to work hard ahead of the global event to be held at the Caxias do Sul Golf Club.
Makoha has been to several countries like Turkey, and indeed he's a motivation to us. He became number 5. So again, Makoha has a large network which has enabled him to boost his skills. And as I said, he's a member of Vet Lab, that's in Kabete. We've had tournaments with the hearing people and we're still ongoing. We've had match days, match tournaments. And I believe everything said, we are looking forward to a better tomorrow.
In the first round, all golfers will play in the stroke play format from May 7th to 9th. The best 16 will qualify for the quarters and then semi-finals, which will be played in a match play format on May 10th, and the finals to be played on 11th May.
Thank you, Buckley, for that report. Now, moving on, Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola says his team will need 2 exceptional games to overcome Real Madrid and reach the Champions League final, where they will play either Villarreal or Liverpool, who play tomorrow night. Premier League leaders City take on La Liga leaders Real in the first leg of the semi-final at the Etihad Stadium tonight.
Problems are mounting as Eden Hazard, Luke Jovic and Mariano Diaz miss out due to injuries. Guardiola's side lost 1-0 to Chelsea in their first Champions League final last season, while Real have been European champions 13 times. This is the 3rd time in 7 seasons that City have reached the last 4, while Real are in the semi-finals for the 10th occasion in 12 years and aiming to win the tournament for the first time since they beat Liverpool 3-1 in the 2018 final. The second leg of this semi-final will be played at the Santiago Bernabeu on the 4th of May, while the final will be in Paris on the 28th of May. Liverpool and Spanish side Villarreal contest the other semi-final, with the first leg at Anfield tomorrow night.
And finally,